In the last video, I ran steps 1 through 3 of C.R.A.F.T framework on the priority algorithm story. 6 acceptance criteria, the modesty rule baked in, the displacement mechanism in there. The timestamp tiebreaker, on paper, the story looks done. But it isn't. 6 acceptance criteria describe the happy path. They don't describe what happens when the happy path bends sideways. So this is the step 4 force edge cases. And of the 6 stories in this project, the priority algorithm is the one where these steps matters most, because this is the story where the application actually has to make decisions. If a decision rule is missing, the algorithm guesses, and the guesses goes to production, and we don't want that, right? So here is the prompt. Same one I taught you in Module 2. The AI takes the priority algorithm story and stress tests it. Pattern recognition, failure modes, boundary conditions, one prompt, all of that, okay? So 12 edge cases comes back. And I'm walking you through 4, the 4 that would have broken this application if I'd stopped at step 3. Edge case 1, the displacement subcase. So look at the acceptance criterion 3. The story says when a priority worker arrives and the quota is full of non-priority workers, the system displaces the first one. Fine. But the AI surfaces a question the story does not answer. What happens when the priority worker arrives and every single worker already in the quota also has a priority? Read acceptance criteria 3 again. It tells you what to do when there is a non-priority worker to kick out. It does not tell you what to do when there isn't. That is the kind of gap you don't catch reading the story. You catch it in production. The first Friday this scenario actually happens when the algorithm hits a branch nobody wrote. Vladimir never described this. He told me modest workers have priority and they kicked out greedy ones. He didn't tell me what happens when there are no greedy ones left to kick out. That gap was invisible in conversation. The AI caught it in 7 seconds. So the answer turns out to be simple. First come, first served. If everyone in the quota has a priority, the slot stays with whoever submitted first. The late arriving priority worker does not get in. The quota holds. Bucket A. Watch this go straight into the story. Same interaction, same form, would silently break the algorithm if missing. Now we have 7 acceptance criterions. Edge case 2. Partial submissions. A worker logs in Friday at 9:30, fills in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, phone rings, they walk away, the clock hits 12. They never came back. The story currently assumes complete submissions. 7 days picked, the algorithm runs, slot gets assigned. The AI asks the obvious questions. What does the algorithm do with the 3 days picked and 4 days blank? 2 failure modes here. One, you treat the partial as a complete and the algorithm assigns based on incomplete data. Wrong. And 2, you reject the whole submission because it is incomplete and the worker loses everything they did pick. Also wrong. The right answer is in the specification. Save what is there. Leave the rest for the administrator to fill in manually after the window closes. The algorithm processes the 3 picked days using the same priority rules. The 4 blank days do not count toward the modesty calculation because the worker did not actually request anything for those days. Bucket A again. New acceptance criteria going in now. The algorithm needs to know that blank means blank, not 0, not assumed first shift. 8 acceptance criteria, edge case 3 weekend combinations. This is one AI flagged unprompted. The priority algorithm story does not mention the weekend anywhere. The story handles weekends, 5 days, 3 options each, algorithm runs, done. But here is what just happened on screen. The AI did not only inspect the story, it went back to the product Bible, pulled out a rule from a complete different sections, the section about the weekend logic, and compared it against the story I asked it to stress test. I quote a scope mismatch I had not noticed. The product Bible says weekends work differently. Workers rank 2 preferences per weekend day, first choice and the second choice, 6 possible combinations instead of 3 single picks, none of which the priority algorithm story currently handles. So the AI flags it. Your priority algorithm story does not handle weekends. The weekend logic is fundamentally different. You either expand this story to cover both, which will make it too big to estimate, or you create a separate story for weekend logic. Bucket B, separate story. This is exactly the call that came out of the decomposition prompt in one of the previous lectures. The weekday algorithm is the one story, weekend logic is another. The AI confirmed the split was the right one. Edge case 4, Friday is a holiday. The input window is Friday 8 to 12, hard-coded into the story. What happens the week Friday falls on a public holiday and the office is closed? 3 possible answers. Move the window to Thursday, keep it on Friday and trust workers to log in from home, or skip the weekend entirely and have the administrator assign manually. I don't know which one Vladimir wants. Vladimir does not know either. He did not think of this until the AI asked. And that is the lesson I want you to take from this whole lecture. Refinement is not about having all the answers. It is about surfacing the questions before they cost you. Okay? Vladimir is not failing here. He is a stakeholder. Stakeholders do not have every answer in their head because every answer they don't have is a question they didn't think to ask themselves. The AI thought to ask. So Vladimir gets to decide on his own time in writing before a single line of code is written. Bucket C, flagged as a risk. It went into the specification as an open question, section 11, where it still sits today. Open questions are not failures, hidden questions are. 4 edge cases, 4 classifications, 2 acceptance criterions added to the priority algorithm story, growing it from 6 to 8. 1 risk flagged, 1 scope boundary confirmed. Step 4 took about 2 minutes of prompting. The other 8 edge cases went through the same classification off screen, and most were bucket A. A couple discarded as a noise. The result on screen is a priority algorithm story that now describes the happy path, the displacement subcase, the partial submission case, a clean scope boundary at the weekend, and the flagged risk for the holiday. Without this step, every one of these would have surfaced during development. The displacement subcase as a production bug in week 2, the partial submission case as a hotfix after the first Friday. The weekend confusion as a developer building it wrong and refinement meeting to fix it. The holiday conflict as an emergency Slack thread on the first time it happened. This is what I mean when I say the framework produces better stories, not just faster ones. Here is the line I want you to leave this lecture with. Before step 4, missing edge cases feels unavoidable. After step 4, missing them feels like a choice you made. Okay? I'll see you in the next video.